So I'm Shazia Makhdoumi, and I'm part of our Google Play Apps and Games BD team, and I lead our effort for kids and family apps. So how many people here are kids and family developers? OK, excellent. So OK, cool. If I'm blocking any of you, just let me know. So I always like to start by showing, and some of you may have seen this, but this is kind of what, when you think about building great kids and family apps, this is what we're trying to do. If you want to play the video, please.
One, two, three.
So it's yogurt.
Now do we need butter?
No, the other way. Like that. Straight. But this one, we fold it like this. Wow, aren't we clever?
And to cut your hair. Where is the black one?
Oh, it's in my eyes. Is that what my hair looks like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Green.
Yeah, that's right.
I did it. You do that one.
All right, then. That's it. What, did I get all white and nice and clean?
He said to us, "Why do you sit there like that?"
I watched that video so many times, and every time I get goosebumps. But so what we're here to do, right, is help you guys build more of those moments for families. And Google's made a big investment in the kids and family space. How many people here have heard of our Google Play for Families program we announced at Google I/O? And OK, so that's quite a few people in the audience. Sorry, let me try and get to the next slide. Oh, OK. So it's basically a new discovery experience on Play. So a separate section for kids and family content where you can opt into being in that section in addition to being in the main Play Store. And what that does is it allows parents to go to a particular place where they want to search for content for kids, either by browsing top collections for kids or by age group or even popular characters. So I'll talk a little bit about some of the key elements of what we've done in that. So again, search results are more relevant. So for example, if you do a search for, let's say, music, in the family section, as you can see, the results are going to be very different because we understand that you're looking for kids and family content. And it's only going to give you results from the apps and games that have been opted into our families program, whereas the same search and anywhere else in Play gives you very different results. And on that related search note, no matter where you are, if you're doing a search, and as you know, Google really knows search. So if we understand you're doing a search for kids' content, so educational games for kids, or apps for 3-year-olds, or in this case, coloring for kids, the results you'll get will be boosted, or the apps and games that are created for kids, because we understand it's a kid's search, are going to get a search boost and will show up higher in the results no matter where the search is done. So again, search, which is a really main way for people to search, for parents to search for content for their kids, in addition to browsing or characters. We've put a lot of effort into making sure we get it right to get your content in front of them. And I mentioned characters earlier, and we know characters are very important to kids, right? Everyone has their favorite character. They want all the content. They're obsessed. I have 2 boys, 7 and 8, and they've been through the different obsessions. But what we did was we wanted a place, so from a parent perspective, you have one place to go and get all the content you want related to Peppa the Pig, or related to Dora, or Elmo, or Frozen, or what have you, right? So you've got your apps and games. You've got your movies and TV content. You've got your books. And so this is a way for parents to find their content, and then for developers like yourselves who've invested in licensing, it really gets a chance to get your licensed content in front of users in additional ways than them just searching for it. And then lastly, we've also put in a lot of kind of sort of tools and controls that make it easier for parents to find great, safe content for their kids. So for example, we have content ratings that we launched earlier in the year, and everyone in the store, so not just kids and family apps, but everyone has a content rating, and you can only be in the family section if you have an E or E10 rating. We also let parents know which apps or games have ads or in-app purchases in case they care. If you're a parent looking for something in a particular category or you want to see if it's age appropriate, we have badging that helps you get there. And then finally, we also have put in more password protections or password controls for reducing in-app purchases, accidental in-app purchases by kids. So that's kind of on the design and development side. We're also investing a lot from marketing and the promotion side, where really trying to get more users to the family section and then in front of your content. So for example, of course, a lot of email and social sort of marketing campaigns. We're working with curators who are curating expert collections on Play, doing a lot of seasonal themes. And then we actually did a first of its kind physical event with digital content in New York a few months ago with content from some of our key partners, where, as you can see in the picture, kids really enjoyed working with the physical and digital, similar to what you saw in the video. So we've talked about the design and development part, but more from our perspective, working with a lot of people in the audience, as well as from the store itself, we've got some insights on kind of that how do you build a great app, how do you market it, monetize it, and wanted to share that with you, including the experiences from some of our developers. So some of this may seem really obvious. Thank you. Understanding your audience. So, and in the kids space, a little bit tricky because you've got two audiences. You've got the parent who's going to be the purchaser of the content, and you've got the child who is going to be the consumer. And you really need to please both in the case. Parents are looking for educational value. They care about something that stimulates their kids' creativity and allows them to explore. But kids are not looking for boring, dry stuff that is educational. They want to be engaged. So you really need to kind of walk that fine line. Another thing that sort of I tell developers is try not to be all things to all people, because it really isn't possible. We know middle schoolers are different from toddlers, but even there's a difference between like 5-year-old and 8-year-old, or 8-year-old and 11-year-old. So at Google, our research has shown, think about the key audience that you're going after and really optimize for that key audience, for their developmental levels, for their language ability, for their motor skills, and really get it right for them. And that's why we have age groups, as you can see, in the family section, where you can opt your app into one or up to 2 adjacent age groups. Also involve kids in your research early, like even from as the thinking part of it, so to speak, right? But Studios, which is one of our partners we work with, has hundreds of kids involved all the way early on, from testing. They do play testing, they do focus groups, online surveys, and really tinker with the apps that make sure at the end of it, what comes out is something that the audience cares about. And this is also especially beneficial because these early kids and parents who are engaged with your content and have been with you from the start are going to be your most avid proponents and customers and influencers in the space, telling other kids and parents about your content. And kids especially are very visual, right? And you want to really capture their imagination and hold their attention. And part of how you do that is through large, colorful icons, illustrations, characters, screenshots, and videos that are high quality. In a very informal survey we'd done of kids, and we asked, what is the one thing or what's the main thing that you look for when you choose an app? And I was thinking it could be a lot of different things, my adult hat on. And the number one answer actually came back as the icon. Kids choose an app based on the icon. How many people are surprised by that? Oh, OK, maybe I was the only one. Because I thought, oh, well, what does it do, and does it matter? And I had my parent hat on, I think. But anyway, so make sure kind of you think about what works for them, and also especially think about kids' vocabularies and their finger size. So small words, large fonts, lots of color. So Smart Study, which is one of our partners in Japan, actually says that they use no text. They only use images in their menus, And they also have large enough buttons that kids who can't read or have very low motor skills are still able to engage and interact. So you need to make education fun, otherwise it won't work. Because remember, the parent also needs to be convinced that this is something that they want to purchase for their kid. So it needs to be education kind of in an appealing way. And IntelliJoy, which is one of our most successful developers on the Play platform for kids, really thinks about very ruthless about, is this thing adding educational or learning value to what I'm doing? So even if it's a really cool 3D effect or something, if it's detracting from value and learning, they just don't put it in. Also, together with that, though, you want to make it simple. Like simplicity, clarity are really sort of paramount. So Avokido, when they were designing Think Rolls 1 and 2, told us that they took out all the complicated scenarios and the complex UIs and the multi-screen levels, and they just kept it really simple. Because for kids to be engaged, it has to come naturally. It can't be from kids and parents poring over manuals, trying to figure out, oh my God, how does this thing work? They're going to abandon it before they figure it out. And then again, as you probably heard in the earlier session today, right, focus on quality. Quality really matters. Quality matters because people pay for it. You can see the jump in revenue just with the addition of a single star. But in the kids space, it matters a lot because when you're buying for someone else, as a parent is buying for their kid, they want any signal that tells them that, you know what, your kid is going to like this. And they use the, ratings as one of those signals to say, oh, wow, this is highly rated. I think chances are high my kid will like it. So you want to make sure that, again, back to your loyal users, your initial beta users, what have you, make sure people who love your app or game go into the store and give it a rating. So now we've talked about designing sort of designing a great app, but now how do you monetize it? And monetization, as I think we're all aware, is tricky in the kids and family space. So these are some of the models that we've seen for kids' apps, right? Subscriptions, ads, in-app purchases, premium. I'll talk about them. They all have their pros and cons. And I think you should find something that suits your content the best. So premium. So what's great about premium is every time someone gets something, you get money, right? They download it, they pay for it, and that's revenue in the bank. But it really works well if you are a well-known brand, if you spend the money to establish yourself as a brand. In fact, Toca Boca and Sago Sago actually do really well in this, because when something new comes out, the user knows the quality of what they're going to get. And try before you buy, right, works in anything in life, right? That's why we have return policies, and we have, and we want to check it out before we commit to it forever. Why should apps and games be different? But in the family space, this matters a lot because back to the question that I was asking earlier, when you have someone buying for someone else, the stakes are higher. You want to give them signals that they wanted. So parents, another piece of research I was reading, parents apparently were like, I would spend $99 on something that I know my kid will love and use and engage with for a long time, but I don't want to spend 99 cents on something they'll just get bored with in 10 minutes. So how do they know that their kid is going to enjoy it? So this is a model that works really well because the parent has a sense that, yes, my child will like it. But then the pesky part of this is, okay, I'm constantly getting notifications to spend more and spend more and spend more in this, or I need to purchase this for the next level. Storytoy has actually done a great job in solving for this, where they make the content free initially, but then a single in-app purchase helps you get the rest of the app. So they get the benefit of the child trying it out and the parent knowing that their child is going to enjoy the content, but without then notifying the parent again and again on multiple pieces of content they need to buy. Subscriptions is also becoming very popular in the kid space. So actually, I want to do a quick survey of the kids developers in the audience. How many have premium apps? Okay. How many have in-app purchase? How many have subscriptions? How many have ads? Okay. So subscriptions getting very popular, and of course, the good news about this is a lower cost of acquisition for the user, which is great, and then recurring revenue stream for the developer, because then they can continue to invest in the product. But part of the challenge here is you need to have something new in there, or something fresh, or some way that parents are willing to continue to pay on a recurring basis because they're getting something. By the way, if you do subscriptions, just sort of as an FYI, you don't have to process financial transactions. Google takes care of the checkout, just like we would in premium or in in-app purchases. And while this is not necessarily a business model per se, I want to touch on IP licensing. How many people here have licensed IP from others? So, and this is part of why, for that investment, we've actually made character pages. So while this is really great in the sense that, yes, you get a, sort of target audience, sort of pre-existing audience, in fact, for the brand. You've got marketing of the brand already being done, and it helps you with the challenge of user acquisition discovery. But then you also have, certain standard or quality of the app that you need to adhere to because, fans of the brand expect that, or the brand owner is going to have some control over what you produce. And, obviously, and also the economics are going to be different. So something to think about if you go into the licensing space. So we've talked about designing the app, and now you're going to monetize it. How do we get users to the app, and how do they know, that they want it? So one of the key things for this is create a compelling store listing, right? And especially in the kids space, I was talking about icons being really important to them. So make sure that it's something that's appealing. Make sure that if someone is looking for someone like you, they actually find you. So the title needs to be very clear, right? Because then you show up and stand out in search results. In your store listing, first describe very clearly what it does. And then you can add all the accolades, it's one. But it should be very clear about this is what I am, this is what I'm not. And then now that you have people's attention, have compelling screenshots and videos, because that's what's going to then convert them from that getting to that page to then downloading, installing your content. How many people here have tried our A/B tests and store listings yet? Okay, so something we launched at Google I/O, and I think just across the board, you've probably heard in the earlier presentation also, people are seeing great success with this. So what happens, for those who don't know, you can actually test any part of your listing through A/B tests and see what works better, icon or different title or different graphics, etc. And Baby First actually has been using this really aggressively and found out that when they changed their icon, they actually got 10% more installs. So they changed it permanently at once. So I would definitely recommend using this for something that's as important as an icon in the kid space. And then developer pages is another thing we launched at I/O, and this is a way for you guys to build a brand for yourself on Play. So how many people here have developer pages? Okay. So for those who don't, I would definitely encourage you to look at this, because you can have a banner, an icon that represents your brand, a featured app, and also importantly, when you do marketing campaigns, especially if they're not about a specific app, you can then direct people to your developer page instead of having to decide which part of your content you want to direct them to. And then, we've all heard the saying, it takes a village. It takes a village also to get the best apps and games to kids. So build a community. Get users, again, who who love your content, to leave reviews on there. Especially in the kids and family space, parents, and for those of us parents who've probably also done this, where you hear from other parents what they like and you go check it out, or kids hear from kids what they're playing. So this is a place where parents want to read what other parents are doing and use that as a way to find something that their kid who's similar might like. And also respond to reviews. If users have left reviews, if they like something, if they're giving you feedback, respond to them and really create that connection to build your village. Now, how many people have a channel on YouTube for their apps and games? Okay, good. This is actually higher than when I talk about this in the US. So kids are on YouTube. We know that, right? I think there was an increase of 200% in our family channels just on YouTube. Kids are connecting with other creators. Kids are putting user-generated content. Kids are watching gameplay from other kids. So you want to be there. You want to have your own page where you have game trailers or gameplay, or you can even have user-generated content or give out tips or inform people about new new products in there. And now we have something that's cards. When I say now, I actually mean a few months. This has been out for a little while, but it's an evolution of annotations where within the video itself, you can have a card directing people anywhere, including to your app. So if they're watching a video for the app and they must have it then, you literally, with one click, they just go there and get the app. And then lastly, you need to be where your audience is. So promote on family-friendly channels, right? So if it's that parent blogger or the moms groups or other communities, because these influencers and curators are really important, right? They're going to help you build that audience and get in front of the people that you need to reach. So do your best to figure out who these influencers for your particular regions or your particular content are, and get them to tell their audiences about your app. We actually are also doing that on Play in the family section with expert collections from experts like LeVar Burton here and other entities where they're talking about apps and games they like and helping validate your content to other users. So how many people already are in the Design for Families program on Play? OK, so given the number of kids developers, that's actually a very low number. So if you guys are not, and you are in the kids and family space, I'd encourage you to get more information at developer.android.com/families on the program. But then also, if you go into the developer console, and you literally, under the all application section, go into the pricing and distribution section, and just check a box to say, I want to be in Play for Families. And what that does is it also puts your content in Play for Families, and you get all the benefits I was talking about earlier regarding search, et cetera. And you also are wherever you are in the regular Play Store. So it's like double dipping. You're not taking away from one to be in the other. I can't believe it. I finished actually early. I never do that.